Joey, being inspired by your older brother at a young age, you picked up the guitar and immediately began your journey. Starting off writing and playing music in your parents' garage, to forming bands, booking your own shows, recording and producing your own original music, has laid out the rock-solid foundation that contributes to your work ethic. Today, you have been rising to the top of the American reggae scene, hitting 1.3 million Spotify streams and another 200,000 across all platforms in a near decade of your musical career. You have worked with some greats like Nathan Aurora of Iya Terra, Howi Spangler of Ballyhoo, and Ted Bowne of Passafire, and the list goes on. You continue to dominate your live performances, like during Sunfest in 2022 and the main stage, Reggae Rise Up in 2021, Mountain High Vibes Festival, Orange Bowl VIP Party, Reggae for the Cure, and Summer Days Concert Series. Your creativity, tenacity, and passion has led you to your 15-track album, Chasing Constellations, which features some of the names I mentioned before. But what I want to know is, what was the creative process like making your first full-length album?
You really did your research on the backstory. By the way, the whole creative writing in my parents' garage, you were very much a part of that too.
Dude, yeah.
So, top.
Dude, before we even get started, Joey Calderaio, everybody, put some respect on the name. And speaking of respect on the name, out of the interviews I've seen and just like people talking about your name, for the final one, once and for all, how do you pronounce your full name?
Calderaio like mayo is what I always say.
Calderaio like mayo.
Yeah.
Easy.
Easton in my band, he always says summus like hummus. So I figured I had to pick some kind of food to rhyme it with or something.
Well, dude, that's gonna stick with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, dude, yeah, freaking going back to the garage, man.
Yeah, man. Jamming like the old days.
Yeah. So is that kind of how the album came about for like the creative process, or was this kind of like a different approach since this is your first full-length album, I would say?
Yeah, so I released an EP in January 2019, and that was Moving Mountains, and that sorry, I'm not exactly answering your question, but I'm taking you through a time lapse. So
well, I threw a lot at you.
Yeah.
Once.
So to get the Moving Mountains project out, that was just me pretty much putting together some of my favorite songs that I had recorded over the years. And Chasing Constellations was more of a concept album, where it had an intro, an interlude, and kind of a ballad to end the whole thing. And I was very much going from kind of like a space theme album, because, well, I had the song Chasing Constellations was already written, and that was actually the oldest song off the album. I started writing that in 2016.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it had been 6 years after that it actually came out.
Did that song just kind of come about and then you just kind of kept that in the back pocket and you're like, this is good, but I want to save this for something? Or
yeah, I think I was just high in my room one day and wrote this song, and just really felt connected with the lyrics and all that, the meaning behind the song. And you know, yeah, just felt a big connection to the lyrics and the meanings that some of the lyrics were, I don't know what I believe in anymore, and I was kind of struggling with my views with religion at the time, and then the next lyric is, I will keep on reaching towards the sun, so like using the sun as kind of a symbolism for doing good and striving for positivity. So I don't know what I believe in anymore, but I will keep on reaching towards the sun and keep on trying to be the best that I can be. And I was like, I like this message. You know, I feel very connected to this. So decided to kind of make the idea of Chasing Constellations following that same theme, whereas the space is kind of a symbolism for all the possibilities of where our mind can take us, you know. And that's kind of how the idea of Chasing Constellations came about. Quite literally, I am the one that's...
You're the spaceman.
I'm the spaceman seeking out, reaching, trying to find where I belong in this vast universe. So that's kind of...
No, that was kind of like the reason why I want to like dissect the album, because, right. I mean, given like our history, like, dude, you were like the first, one of like the first musicians I've ever got to like be in a band with, just write music. I mean, you really taught me how to book shows.
Right.
I remember like being in the room where like 16 years old, and you're like, "This is how I do it." Call this person. Hello,
cold
cold calling. Like I had my Reverb Nation link for you, dude. That's you just exactly just you continue to move forward, and the thing is with the album, it all really ties in really well together, and I feel like now with just the digital age and how people are releasing music, it's either singles or just an EP or just whatever music that people have at the time to just kind of package and put out, and they can just make it make sense to just put out. Even like selfishly speaking for myself, like Sunshine Soul, I just felt like the music I was writing is a little bit like this, a little bit over there, a little bit over here, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna forcefully put it into a package, call it Sunshine Soul, and then Volume 2 coming out, because I wanted to like just like close off that idea. But with your album, everything flows really well. There's a lot of I don't know if it's like risk is the right word, but there's certain songs that I have never heard you melodically sing like before. There's certain falsettos that you hit. Just the production, the approach. I mean, even your collaborations with some of the people. This really, from start to finish, feels like a full length of just music that really makes sense, and it's just very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And don't get me wrong, there was definitely a lot of times where I would just have writer's block, for weeks on end, and but I had made a deal with myself that I would stick to this idea of the Chasing Constellations theme, and this was probably 2 years in the works of I would have a couple good weeks where I would be writing every day and would just bust out some new material, and then other weeks where I'd be like, damn, I can't think of anything, maybe I should just scrap this whole entire idea. But ultimately I was like, I want to get this out. I need to do this for myself. And that's kind of what kept me going, is just like this idea of I have to do this. I have to get this out for myself, And so that's kind of how that came about.
Well, dude, I would love to like dissect the album just track by track, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Just getting open with it. Unfortunately, I don't have a good memory.
Yeah,
I tried memorizing every track in order, so I'm going to refer to my phone.
Sure.
So, dude, right off the bat, the intro, what was kind of the idea? Did you always know you wanted kind of like an album intro? That's where I knew immediately, like, this is something new, professional, like really putting you to the top. Right. This man's got an intro before the album even starts.
Right. Yeah, I did know I wanted an intro. I was listening to Alan Watts one day. I'm a big fan of Alan Watts. For those of you who don't know who he is, he's a philosopher, I think from the 70s, talks about all different sorts of stuff, Zen Buddhism mainly. And I was listening to one of his speeches, his lectures, and it was talking about constellations, and I got to think of the exact lyrics from it. But it was basically, so the basic idea of it is like when you look out into the sky and you see a constellation, like it's a constellation in our head, but out there in space, like from the viewpoint of the constellation, it's not a constellation. It's just a, single, it's just a star, part of this great big thing. And I don't know if that,
I'm following. Yeah.
But that's kind of like us as humans.
Yeah, it's almost like when you sit there and just like look at space and you really think about it. It's like, like holy crap, we are moving on a flying freaking rock.
Right, exactly.
And it's just, and then you think about it in even like an emotional sense too. Because my wife, she's so infatuated by space to the point where it's like almost hard for me to keep up. Where I'm just like, sometimes I just kind of, I'm not in that headspace to even talk about it or even comprehend with it too. But I mean, no, when you think about it, like you look out into outer space and there's just so much, and we're like such a little peon of something that's so much bigger for us to even comprehend.
Yeah, it's pretty overwhelming at times, but also quite humbling because it's like there's a meme I saw the other day. It was like 2 people sitting on the bus. One person is like oh wow, there's no meaning to anything, and then the other and they were all like depressed, and then the other person's like, wow, there's no meaning to anything, and they're like all happy. And
they're looking out the window, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like one's like a beautiful sky,
Yeah,
and one's
yeah,
kind of like dark, and it's like just get up and move your seat, sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, change your perspective.
Exactly.
But no, yeah, because listening to the intro, and usually I just kind of skip those sometimes because I feel like it's part of like sometimes it's fluff in albums, just kind of like beef it up a little bit to make an album. But I mean, I'm also love Alan and like the way he speaks and stuff too. But I mean, it really sets the mood for what's gonna come too. So, and then especially when you hear the words constellations, that you're like, oh, like I'm freaking buckled up now.
Exactly.
You know, I'm getting going.
You're in the spaceship. That's kind of how I viewed it. Is like, okay, the intro.
It's like a roller coaster ride a little bit too, when you're like sitting down and like you're the Buzz Lightyear sort of. I don't know why that's like where I come through my brain, but like you're buckled up and ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I kind of imagined it from how you just explained it from like first person perspective. You're in a spaceship, maybe you're whatever, putting on the seatbelt, putting on this intro, and you're hearing the keyboards and the pads. Which, by the way, I want to shout out Alex Burgess, who put together the keyboards for that intro track, and just did a phenomenal job doing that.
That's what I was about to ask. Was that pretty thought out of, or you just kind of told Burgess like whatever you feel, go for it?
Yeah, pretty much that. I had like a basic idea. I did a little bit of I kind of started it off with just like some simple pads, and it was very, very simple, and sent it over to him with the Alan Watts track over it, and said, hey, do what you feel, maybe some nice little keyboard sounds, whatever. It ended up being like a 15 stem project that Alex sent me, just because there's so many different little intricate sounds that he added. So that was cool. What else was I gonna say about that? So in order to get the licensing to use the Alan Watts sample, I reached out to Mark Watts, who's his son. Oh, because Alan passed away. I don't know how many years ago, but he's long dead.
Yeah.
And so I did reach out to his son Mark, who owned the rights. We talked on the phone for a couple hours, making sure it was okay. I purchased the licensing to use it. He said I was the only musician to reach out personally to ask to use it, because people would just sometimes use it without asking, whatever. They might get their song flagged or whatever, but
also, I mean, that just like says a lot about your character too. I mean, there's like the right way to do things and the wrong way to do things.
Right.
I mean, but also there's
someone's work without,
there's like short. I mean, you can either cut a shortcut or like, what, I'm going to do a full length album. So if I'm going to do everything, I'm going to do everything to the T.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, that's awesome. That was actually one of my questions. So you kind of read my mind, but like moving on to track 2, which is Chasing Constellations. And so that's the oldest song that on the record. You said back in 2016.
Yeah, that's the oldest one.
And then just pretty much had that back pocket. And then did you know that song was so special you were going to kind of do a whole album kind of theme to contribute to it, or it just kind of like how did that really just come about?
Right. No, I didn't know that at the time. I just had it on my computer for many years. I always thought I would go back to it, and just like never really had. I was thinking about putting it on Moving Mountains, but I just never finished writing it. And then one night I was listening to it again, and the song was originally called Night Thinking, because I woke up at like 4 a.m. and just had like this melody stuck in my head, the song melody. And I was like, I have to record this right now. And for years, the song just sat on my computer, on my laptop. I just never did anything with it, and went back to the song for whatever reason and decided I was going to finish writing it. And that was probably around the time that I decided that was going to be the title track of the album.
Do you do that often though when you wait? Because I mean, I have that in the morning. Sometimes I'll either have like another song stuck in my head, or if like stuff I was working on the night before that will like just will live, and I'm like, okay, this is like my body's telling me something, my mind's telling me something to kind of run with this idea. But like just waking up from an abrupt sleep,
Right.
Do you have that kind of often as an artist?
I don't know about super often, but yeah, definitely sometimes. It's definitely birthed a few songs of mine. But yeah, I don't know how often.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's and it's always your brain works, I think, similar to mine. It just never turns off, sort of thing. So, in that sense, it's like, what ideas do you want to kind of like nurture and encourage compared to like, oh, these are just thoughts, and learning how to have the discipline to kind of move that around. So just kind of like right off the bat with like Chasing Constellations, did you have that connection feeling when like the song, the melody kind of came to you?
Yeah, it almost felt like my subconscious talking to me, because I was dreaming about this, a little bit of parts of this song, and like, I had been thinking these thoughts about, my religion and about all those thoughts. And
deep thoughts.
Yeah, it just came awake at night, while I was dreaming, and I somehow put these melodies and lyrics together, and then I was like, I'm putting that down now. I have to record this right now, So it's just kind of funny how it works out that way sometimes.
Yeah, dude, the best songs write themselves. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to the next track, Wave of Life.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, dude, freaking got Howie on there.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yep. Howie killed it.
How did that How did that relationship even come about?
Let's see. I think we'd been messaging on Instagram for some time, and one day I just decided to go for it, take the risk, and say, hey, Howie, big fan of your music. I'm working on a song where I can really see your voice during the second verse. Would you be opening to, being a part of this track? And to my surprise, he said yes, and sent it to him, and his verse was awesome. And then Donald Spangler, his brother, is also playing drums on the track too. So,
that's special.
Yeah, it's very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude, his lyrics just really touch the song, and I love it when features go on other people's songs, and lyrically it really ties into the theme of the Wave of Life.
Absolutely.
Too. It's dope.
Definitely.
You writing that song though, coming about, did you kind of know did you want to feature in that song, or the song was kind of already written, you're like, it's missing something? So how did that kind of work out?
Yeah, so I wrote the first verse, wrote the chorus. Yeah, I wrote all of it, and then just didn't have the second verse section. So, and was thinking, oh, this might be a perfect opportunity to have a feature, and I like kept thinking like, oh, this definitely has like a Ballyhoo sort of vibe. So maybe that's why I thought Howie would be the perfect person.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, what a perfect match.
Yeah,
too. And I'm glad you released that as a single. You're right. You released that as a single before the album.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
A couple of the tracks, and I think so. The next one I believe is Foolish Games.
I think so. You're right. You know your own order pretty well.
I've listened to it quite some.
This is probably a personal favorite of mine.
Okay,
just because the subject matter, dude.
Yeah,
and I feel like we don't have to go so touchy into political spectrum,
Sure.
but I feel like more than ever now, people are kind of really looking at this as like a foolish game, that people are playing.
Yeah,
and that's kind of, I assume that's kind of how the song wrote itself.
Absolutely.
Out of just kind of internal frustration, maybe, or
I just feel like we're watching a show on Comedy Central every time we turn on the news.
Central.
Both sides, it's just again, not to go too into it, but
right.
But and it was that same kind of thing where I hadn't written a third verse for this song. I'd written the first and second verse, had the chorus, and that I was like, oh, this definitely has like an Iya Terra kind of vibe with, like that lead guitar.
Yeah, it gets heavy, but it like really like locks in and grooves and jams. I mean, like right off the gate, we try to justify our actions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And again, for this track, I want to shout out Easton, who shredded up that solo on the song. Just an absolute monster of a shredder.
My face was melted.
Yeah, I could still see it.
You can still see it, right?
Just kidding.
That's
yeah.
no, that's a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah.
I want to see what's next.
Oh, and also that was the one of the only songs I didn't play bass on. Big G, Gary Larison of Big G Productions, who mixed and mastered the entire album. He played bass on that one.
Oh, that's what's up. Let's go next. You take me so high.
Yeah. So that song's about hope, about our third date, and
I hear that little
yeah
beach resort reference.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Jupiter Beach Resort.
Oh yeah.
Please don't sue me. But yeah, our third date, we did like a wine and painting thing.
Yeah, tip. There's like some sort of fun term for it, like tipsy drawing or something. Maybe,
that sounds about
maybe
right.
I'm making some shit up.
Yeah. No, that sounds pretty accurate. Yeah.
So it's
drinking wine and painting. But yeah, we kind of we did that. We went to the beach resort. I'm pretty sure like I tackled her in the sand at one point. But and somehow she still loves me. But yeah, so kind of wrote about that song. I've always wanted to write a song about hope, and that's kind of how that one came together. And that's another song with a feature, and that features Ryan from Dubbest. And that's like her current favorite band.
Oh, okay.
So that was like a nod to them.
Yeah.
And I won't say who I was originally going to have on it, but I was originally going to have a certain band that was like, yeah, we're down, we're gonna do it,
and it just didn't work out.
They just kind of ghosted me, and I'm like, damn, like, I was really looking forward to that, and then so I'm scrambling around trying to find another feature, and it was perfect because Hope loves the best, and luckily Ryan was down. And
I felt like that was another like really good match, and that's the thing with the whole album. I thought all the features made sense. I didn't look at it like, oh, that's because of this, or that's because of just like a relationship. Like even with like Dubbest, some of their songs, it's very like storytelling in a sense too,
Right,
and I feel like this song really paints the picture of you guys painting the picture, drinking wine, Jupiter Beach Resort, and everything in between. After that date, though, did you write the song kind of like immediately, or did you just kind of think of like a good time and it made you feel a certain way, and then you just kind of picked up the guitar and then just went for it?
The song came later. I'm not sure when, probably about a year ago, maybe, so maybe about 4 or 5 years after that night, I was just, reminiscing, thinking about it, and I was like, oh, that was a nice night. I'm going to write a song about it. So.
Hell yeah. My phone's like about to die, so that's
call on me next.
Yeah, call on me.
Yeah, so that was a song that came about. I think about my brother who is just going through a very tough time and battles a disease called arachnoiditis, which is it basically the lining of your spine like disintegrates maybe, and just causes pain throughout inflammation throughout the whole body. And he's just been struggling with that for the past, 8 years. And it's just been a difficult road. But I think he's seeing the brighter things of life. But there's some days where it's a lot harder for him than others living with chronic pain. So
it's the same brother that brought you into music, right?
Yes. Yeah. And also being that he is the reason that I started playing music in the first place. So the song starts out with some nice finger style like acoustic, and that was for him because he taught me how to finger pick. And then there's a breakdown section where it goes into the solo and instrumental. And I was trying to make it kind of like Chili Peppers sounding because we grew up listening to the Chili Peppers, and that was one of the bands that he got me into that inspired me to play music. So that was another kind of nod to him. And yeah, the lyrics in that song just very much touch on how he's inspired me and how he means a lot to me.
Yeah, dude, I remember early when we were like 16 jamming in the garage and then just like your Italian family just coming in, just like a rotation, just like everyone just saying, hi, how's it going? Just like, I'm like, everybody. But then, when your brother would stop by too and just like pick up the guitar. I remember the first time like I saw him play, I'm like, oh my God, he's really good. He's got such a unique voice and such a style too. And I can kind of see like where your inspiration kind of falls. For sure. Falls with that too.
Definitely.
Have you guys still playing music at all now? Just kind of some brotherly love?
Yeah. We actually released a handful of songs last year under the name Secret Tunnel.
Is it a secret?
It's kind of a little secret. No, the name actually comes from the show Avatar.
Oh, okay.
There's a song, I don't know if you've seen Avatar, I'm sure.
The Last Airbender?
Yeah. That one, not the blue people. There's a song that talk about Secret Tunnel, and we're both big Avatar fans, so that's why that name came about. And we released like 4 songs that Johnny had always kind of on his that he had written but just never recorded.
Right.
One of the songs we co-wrote together, but I think the rest of the tunes were songs that he had written. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about bringing him in on a feature and some?
Yeah, definitely thought about it. You know, it's hard. It's difficult because of his condition. We have to record with him lying down, and it's kind of we have to record on a day where he's not in too much pain. You know, where it's just bearable. Because it's all kind of a lot on his body, but you know, luckily we made it work over many recording sessions, and I think it turned out well.
Those lyrics are really powerful and deep, because as I was listening to him, like, man, who's he talking about? Sort of. That's awesome. But I mean, moving on to Paradise.
Yeah, Paradise featuring Sierra Lane.
Oh yeah. So I mean, besides the music video, I mean, the music video really kind of tells the story, paints the picture of it. But how did that song kind of come about? I mean, obviously living in South Florida, everyone kind of overuses the term.
Yeah.
Living in paradise, living your vacation, like all that stuff. So I mean, does it kind of allude to like the South Florida lifestyle a little bit, or is this more of like a paradise of just something?
Yeah, I think the song kind of came about thinking about my days working at the burrito shop and just being like kind of fed up and just wanting to get out of working a job that I hated and wanting to pursue music. And so, you know, kind of came about.
I forgot you rolled burritos.
Yeah, I was a burrito roller, professional burrito roller, whatever year that was. But yeah, I was just like pissed off at my boss, whatever, wanted to do music full time. And I think that's kind of how that song came about. I wrote it from like a third person perspective about a girl. And I don't know exactly why I did that.
I looked at that as like kind of like a storytelling aspect, because I mean, to relate to that, like, I feel like sometimes writing, I'm stuck to like my ways, and I'll like force myself to be like, you know what, I'm gonna try doing something like this sort of thing, and maybe it's just like a different sort. I mean, that's the beauty of just kind of creating. I mean, you can kind of make whatever you want.
Yeah, that may have been kind of my intention, was like I'm used to writing in first person a lot, whereas like maybe writing in third person could be a cool change. So perhaps that was my intention. Not exactly sure. But yeah, I've just, you know, over the years, Sierra Lane and I have built a good friendship, and I've always wanted her on a song. So I thought she would kill it with some harmonies, which she did. And it's a great song.
Has that been, I feel like that's been, that and Foolish Games, I feel like that's been a very good response on the album so far.
Yeah.
I mean, mainly because you have a music video for it too.
Yep, true. I think those are number like 2 and 3 if you look on like Apple Music, as far as, and I think number 1 is Wave of Life. So yeah, but yeah, those songs.
How about the music? How about the music video? The music video is like super legit. I mean, the storyline, all the days kind of being cut and stuff. Did you script that yourself, or you just knew you wanted a music video for it?
No, I didn't really script that. That was done by Brian Baldanza, who's a mutual friend of ours. He kind of laid it out for me. You know, I talked to him about the song, the meaning, what it means to me, and he kind of we're like, oh well, we're gonna need a restaurant, we're gonna need an angry boss, who is actually Easton's dad.
Oh no way!
Yeah,
That's awesome.
in the music video. But we recorded it at Food Shack or Maxie's Lineup in Jupiter, which is just a Jupiter staple of a restaurant. And
21 years they celebrate.
yeah,
this.
I saw
It's
that.
Amazing.
That's crazy. Good for them.
Oh yeah.
So that's where we recorded it. I texted Mike one day, Mike Moyer, and was like, hey, I've got a weird proposition for you. Can we record a music video while you guys are opening? He's like, yeah, man, come on in. And so that's kind of how that worked out. And so throughout the music video, I'm playing this reoccurring character while it's kind of following Sierra's storyline of, she's the waitress at this bar. She's fed up and sick of, working there, quits, or I guess gets fired. And then, she's having some issues with her boyfriend or whatever. He drops her off at this music venue. She sees this band playing, and I'm like, "Oh, come up and sing the song with us." So I pull her up, and the video ends with we're all just jamming out at Guanabanas in Jupiter, Florida, and that was kind of the storyline behind that.
My favorite character was the mechanic. When you just like lean up and look, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
that was awesome. That seemed like a ton of fun though, and that's the best part about like music videos. I mean, sometimes you could with a serious song you can make it serious too,
right.
but just if you script the concept well and then just plan it out, and just kind of have fun too. You feel that and see it. So the next track, Lost in Space, an interlude.
Yep.
I was gonna ask, what kind of makes the song an interlude rather than just kind of being called Lost in Space?
Yeah.
I know it's in the middle of the album,
right.
so you kind of reach that point.
Sure.
So that's kind of how I took it too. Like as I'm listening to it from start to finish, and then you kind of hear that it's more of kind of like a jam too. And I feel like it kind of coincides with the song Chasing Constellations as well. So I feel like that was kind of like a nice like reset point a little bit, but I definitely don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah. Well, to start, it's I think the shortest song on the album, so I think it's like 1:30. So that's one reason why I thought it'd be more of an interlude rather than its own song. It was originally supposed to just be an instrumental without vocals. That's another reason. And time-wise, with the theme of the album, I just thought it kind of fit because, at this point, I'm lost in space. It starts with Chasing Constellations. I've made this all sounds kind of a bit cheesy, but it's just where my brain was at. I'm starting the expedition. I've been taken so high. I'm here in space. I'm searching for paradise, and now I'm just lost in space, and that's kind of where
that's not cheesy. That's like extremely thoughtful.
Thank you.
That's dope. I mean, that's exactly what I kind of drew me to the album. It wasn't just something random of a bunch of songs where you're trying to make it make sense. It really kind of fits a theme too.
Yeah. There was definitely intention behind all that, and so the song Lost in Space, it started off as just a jam. I co-wrote that with my cousin Anthony. We were gonna start a music project, which we might continue with one day, but we were just kind of messing around. He was playing keyboard, I was playing guitar. So I kept a lot of those same elements that were in the original song. And later finished that song. Added some lyrics at like the very last minute that just felt right. Just felt like they fit. Are we just drifting through the atmosphere, running in circles till we all disappear? Stuck in orbit and we can't stop, lost in space on a giant floating rock. And I just thought that was kind of cool.
Fucking bars, bro.
And went with it. I can do this all day. All day.
I have always this like fear okay, hold on. I'm going to make sure this is recording. It is. I'm going to keep that in there too. Me just staring at the camera.
Stare into your soul.
Staring into the soul of space. Other stuff.
Nice.
Feel the Same.
Mm-hmm.
Feel the Same's up next. Is that the one where you hit a lot of falsettos.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's the
Dude,
one.
that's the thing. When I listen to that song, I'm like, your sense of melody, it's something that I don't know. It's like I've never really heard from you, sort of thing.
Yeah, I was trying something new for sure.
No, it was definitely something new. It was really, really cool.
Thank you.
Did you feel kind of like nervous or something? Because I mean, in my opinion, that's kind of something really out of the box, but it's still it comes from you, so it still fits you,
Right.
But did you kind of feel like you're taking like not like a risk? I know that's kind of a dramatic word, but did you feel like, wow, this is kind of something different that I have here?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would say I was trying something different for, each track off the album, really, with Foolish Games kind of going into something more rock with, than the Chasing Constellations, which is its own genre pretty much. And then this song, Feel the Same, which is a little bit more reggae R&B.
Yes, the R&B flavor. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, and I just wanted to try. I didn't want to sing every chorus the same way. I was like, how can I make this sound a little bit less repetitive and give each chorus its own flavor? So I was kind of writing that, and I was trying to hit these high notes, and I just couldn't. I was like, why don't I just go into the falsetto? And it worked, I think. And then Karim Israel from the band Rise Roots featured on that verse, and I just love his voice so much, and thought it was the perfect touch. So that's kind of how that song came about. That was another one about hope, and that's definitely a little bit more of like the sexy kind of R&B kind of vibe.
I'm glad you said sexy, because I wanted to say it, but but dude, it's very sexy.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
But with I had it. I was gonna ask something. There's something else with that song. The melody. Did that melody really just kind of come to you? Because the fact that you're kind of talking about that you didn't want to make it so repetitive, which is something I noticed too, is a song that kind of just like evolved and showed itself a little bit more and more as you were listening to it. Did that just really just like live in your head and you were able to kind of communicate it well? Because as a musician myself, and I know that's my weak point. It's just like finding stronger melodies and kind of coming up with them quicker. But did that come natural to you, or
as far as the chorus,
just like, the overall the melody of the song?
Yeah, it just kind of came from maybe playing the chords just over and over and just humming something until I've felt like something stuck, and that's kind of what a common technique that I use for songwriting is just I'll be playing the chords, just humming anything, even if it sounds like dog shit. It's like, people listening might think it sounds really weird, because it does sound really weird, but eventually I'll find something that sticks that I'm like, that I just kind of roll with. So
it's a funny thing about like songwriting. You got to have just like that, like let go, vulnerability, and that's especially too like
Absolutely.
with like writing with new people, and sometimes it's a little bit weird at first, because I'm like, I don't really want to be like, and then you go sort of thing. They're like, what the hell? I don't really do that well. But when you start jamming with people for a little bit, or you just kind of on the same wavelength, it's almost like a freaking game of like fucking tennis, back forth sort of thing. You feed off each other.
Yeah.
But doing that by yourself,
right.
That's where it's just like, is this good, or is this just in my head sort of thing, or like, is this anything? Does like it feels good sort of thing? So that's what I was really surprised with that song. I mean, it was really good. I didn't think you had it in you. No, I'm just kidding. But
I like the analogy that you used about the tennis game. It's very relatable,
Yeah, no, because I mean, I was gonna say ping pong, but I'm like, that's a little bit weak. I'm like tennis, really strong, strong ideas, back forth. Right. Runaway Lover. You first played this song for me.
Oh yeah,
when you're
Papa Quans.
Yeah, Papa Quans, man. Shout out Papa Quans and everybody there. I remember, I wasn't gigging on a Sunday. Then my wife and I went to see you, and you're just jamming. You're like, hey, this is a new one. You did not say it like that. You're just like, want to hear a new song? I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
And I was immediately hooked, especially with just kind of like the Runaway Lover. And that's about
Duchess.
Yeah.
Our dog. That was actually not about a true story. I had another dream. I had a dream that she ran away, and she sleeps in our bed. So luckily, I was able to cuddle her and just say, "Oh, she's right here."
That was a dream.
Yeah.
Because dude, honestly,
so she did not actually run away.
coming over when I
were like,
when
"Oh
I
my
met
God,
I know I was
be
thinking,
here."
Yeah, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, where would she go? Because like the way the neighborhood set up and stuff too, and I'm
Right,
like,
it's all gated.
yeah, and I'm like, thank God she's back.
Maybe I should make that more apparent. She's fine. She's fine. She's here.
Joey's a good dog owner.
Yeah.
Very
It's my
responsible.
worst fear is that, her running away,
So you kind of just woke up with that feeling and then just immediately kind of went to write, or did you kind of wake up with the feeling and melody and then kind of wrote itself?
I think I woke up with the melody as well. Yeah. With the back, my runaway lover. Yeah. With that chorus.
Yeah.
So, and then I just continued to ride that. So yeah, it's funny how it works out,
Dude, the song's very strong. So even like those like big hits in the beginning, that's what I was gonna ask too. Like, was that like a conscious decision to make, or you were just playing it through, and you're just thinking maybe adding this will add some flavor, and it kind of just arose?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Sure. I always imagined like some strong horns in the beginning of that song, or just as like that main melody. I had that in my head, and played that on the piano, and then hired a horn player or trumpet and saxophone player to play over those parts. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, luckily my phone's not dead yet, so we're chucking a long way.
Nice.
All We Need.
And
that's featuring a name I can't pronounce because I can't read.
Mihali.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard of Mihali before.
So he is from one of my favorite bands of all time, Twiddle. Have you heard of Twiddle?
I've heard of Twiddle.
They're very much in like the jam band scene, they're very cool.
Yeah, no, I was really just addicted to his voice.
Okay,
too.
yeah.
No, I loved it. That's why I was like, I've never heard of the name. I was
Right.
wondering how that even kind of came about.
Yeah.
And I did not break your chair. Thank you. Okay, cool.
It's all good. So I'd been listening to Twiddle for some time, and I saw that Mihali had been kind of new to like the reggae scene because he started putting out his own solo music, and that it was more reggae, whereas Twiddle, his band, is a little bit more jam band. So reached out to him. He said he was down, and that's kind of how that worked out. That song was actually the last song written for the album, and it just kind of, the song is about, the chorus says, "Why do we try so hard in this life to make sense of it all? Why do we bend over backwards to try and break the fall?" It's like, why are we trying so hard to make sense of everything, to find all these answers, when all we really need is love? Like that's the answer that I have found, that works best for me. Maybe not for everybody, but why are we trying so fucking hard? Why don't we just live? So I don't know.
No, dude, it makes sense too, because it's like I don't want to get all mental healthy,
Sure,
but it's just sometimes there's so much effort put into certain aspects of things. People think that like having either like a certain dollar figure in their bank equals to success, but that person who has that dollar figure in their bank is like, you know what? Like, I just wish I had like my family, sort of thing, or a family, in another sense. So there's always like this weird comparison game, and obviously comparison's the thief of joy.
Right.
So in another sense too, everyone's like spinning their own internal gears, and it's just like, exactly, why the fuck are you trying so hard and trying to understand that? And it's funny because I'll meet certain people at like my gigs and just making small talks, like, oh, like they'll ask me, what do I do? And I'm like, oh, I play music and I do this and that, whatever. I'm like, oh, wow, so cool. I'm like, what about you? They're like, oh no, I just do this. I'm very boring. I'm like, no, you're not boring. It's simple. I mean, simple.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with simplicity. I mean, there's beauty in simplicity.
Yeah, definitely.
And, you can make it whatever you want, sort of thing. But
yeah,
phone is still alive. Hallelujah, baby Jesus. Yeah. So all we need is that the before I move on, is the opening line. What's the opening line?
Music in my jeans, like it's my true religion.
I played that back. I played that back.
Say what do you think he said?
I'm just like,
true religion.
Run that back, sort of thing. I put my True Religion pants on, and then I played the song.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I thought that was a very good analogy, though. I mean, music being your like religious standpoint too, then also kind of an allude to True Religion. So my question is, how many True Religion jeans do you own?
Unfortunately, none. I'm all about American Eagle, so maybe I should change the lyrics to music in my jeans like I'm a flying eagle or something.
Look at that seagull. He stole my American Eagle jeans. Well, why don't you just take me home?
Yeah.
To the next song.
Sure. Oh, snap.
I know. I'm so professional at this. Wow.
Owen Wilson over here.
Wow.
So Take Me Home, that song I wrote during quarantine, which makes me think of your song Quarantine. I love your song Quarantine, by the way.
Dude, when I remember writing that song. No, hold on. You answer the questions here. I see what you're doing now.
You're turning it around on me. So Take Me Home, I wrote it during the pandemic. I was just very much missing my family at the time. My dog had passed away, and so I was thinking about my godfather had passed away, and like just a shit time for me.
I didn't know all that, dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
This was like 2020, I think.
2020.
Yeah, December 2020 or maybe 2019.
Was it like right when it locked down? Because right when it locked down was March 2020.
Right.
Yeah, so probably
it was December, either 2019 or 2020. I'm just saying about all the having a hard time. I don't remember when I actually started writing the song, but somewhere in the quarantine era.
I'll say this and let you finish. I'll relate it to a meme.
Okay.
It's like that meme where it's like 2019 eyes open and then like the eyes close and it's just like eyes back open. It's like 2023. Like it's just saying like life has passed. Been like that since freaking the pandemic.
Very
and
accurate.
The world just going nuts more and more. But no, you wrote the song kind of during the pandemic quarantine era of Florida.
Yeah. So yeah, Take Me Home. I was just kind of fed up with a bunch of stuff and just like, take me home, man. Take me back where everything is normal again. And yeah, we were talking about a lyric earlier, which is keep it on the down low when you're working hard. So that's like, you don't need to tell everybody how hard you're working or like what you're working on. And that's when I was working on this album. It was just like, man, I don't need to post about this every day. I'm just going to keep grinding. And then another lyric is, if you want to know who your true friends are, pay attention who is there for you when you're left out stranded and you're crawling through the dark. And that was like, when you're really struggling and you're, down on your knees in the dark, who's there for you, which of your friends are. We were talking about sobriety and you can see who your true friends are when you're struggling or the opposite when you're doing well. And you lose a lot of friends because, you're wanting to either make changes for yourself and better yourself. And people show their true colors in many different forms. So,
to touch on that, I always kind of say to people, it's like, just pay attention to who's with you when they're celebrating the good times, and also pay attention to see if those same people are with you when you're when you're actually going through something.
Sure.
Because if someone's only with me when I'm celebrating the good times, but if like I actually need help and I need a friend, when I'm actually if I'm actually being vocal, like, hey man, I'm actually going through something, sort of thing, you can really see who's actually in your corner for you at the end of the day or not.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's real. It's real stuff. Did you have all that kind of going on during that songwriting process of Take Me Home, or were you kind of alluding to things in your past that fit the creation of the song?
That's a good question.
I know it's kind of loaded, so you don't have to.
That's okay. Yeah, luckily I've got a pretty good support group, so I don't know if I was even necessarily talking about my own friends, but or maybe it was because I did have a strong support group that I was like, pay attention who is there for you, in this lyrics. So You know, it's hard for me to remember because those times feel like so long ago at this
Gosh,
point,
yeah,
right?
It's nuts.
So,
But I like what you even said there, where certain lines and songs that have so much weight and power don't necessarily have to come from something that was so down in a dark moment. It could be
Right.
something that was just so alluded to a bright thing and realization. I mean, even touching on quarantine,
Right.
it's definitely put a different perspective for me personally on like what really matters most with like family and stuff too, and just like quality time and understanding like how to spend it, when to spend it, and how it can kind of be taken away from you.
Yep. Absolutely.
By those foolish games, those foolish games of the government.
Gosh darn it.
The IRS has entered the chat. So let's just shake off the dust for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that is the next
Oh,
song.
snap.
I'm getting good at this now.
Wow.
Shaking off the dust.
Yeah. So that song is kind of just a jam. Starts off with like a little bit of just some guitar, some saxophone, you know, just jamming a little bit. How did I write this song? I don't exactly remember. I think it started off with the bass line. Ba-doo-doop, ba-doo-doop, ba-doo-doop. Kind of had like a more of a rootsy reggae feel during the verse, and I liked that because not a lot of the rest of the songs on the album did. The chorus is it's about believing in myself a little bit more because sometimes I have a hard time doing that. So the chorus is like, all my life I've been waiting for a sign. I realize my potential and I finally see the light. And it's like, man, stop doubting yourself. Start believing in yourself. You know, you could do this. And so that song kind of became an anthem for me when trying to finish this album. And it was like, I could do this. And that's kind of how that's sung.
Oh, dude, I remember being like 16 with you just playing music and then just being able to get up there in front of all those people and just freaking jam. I'm like, I don't know how he does it. Sort of thing. I don't know the headspace you had to get into to be able to perform and stuff too, but even like seeing that and then being able to perform Sunfest main stage and murder it. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but I mean, all the video clips I've seen, dude, that like, that's where I see the confidence in yourself as like an artist and just a musician from someone who like when we were 16, sitting out and like looking at somebody like being that light of inspiration and stuff too.
Right.
But I mean, even talking about Sunfest for a second too. So believing in yourself. I mean, you definitely. I mean, you could be fooling me. You could tell me you didn't believe in yourself there. But I mean, like, how did that come? I mean, not come about, but how did that feel? Being able to play that.
Oh man, it was one of the most exhilarating experiences of my life. You know, just looking out and seeing all those people there. You know, people I don't know and people who have been at so many of my shows, and you know, it was just felt like the whole world was just like I was just in that moment. You know, I was very present. You know, I wasn't. That Sunfest was very cool because, sometimes I have a tendency to overthink things, especially while I'm on stage. Like, oh, does this look weird that I'm performing this way, or did I say the wrong thing at this
Dude, the
point?
fact that you took the mic off the stand and walked around, I'm like, let's go. Dude, it was awesome.
Thank you. And I wasn't planning on doing that. You know, that just kind of came about because I was just so in the moment and felt like that was the right thing to do.
And that's the thing I was thinking about too. I'm like, I didn't think you were a choreographed performer with left foot, right foot. Hey, everybody. But I mean, as like you only get that much of a time slot, so you got to make sure that everything is prepped good, guitars tuned, everything. But also being able, like, if you're gonna walk around, I don't know, you probably didn't do that on a sound check because you.
No, I did not.
Exactly. So most people like walk around and see if there's any feedback going on, stuff like that too. So the fact that like you just did it with such like such riz, as the kids call it, but at such riz and confidence too, and you looked so rooted into that moment. So the fact that you're saying that you were present, I'm so stoked to hear that. Thanks, too, man. Because I agree with you, and I can relate to that too. Sometimes music's so beautiful and art's so beautiful because it forces you to be present in the moment. In the moment, you kind of are slipping away. It kind of shows a little bit. Really just like, oh, I messed up a little bit. A little bit there. But I mean, even like, dude, I remember being in high school when Sunfest lineups would come out. Remember we would just kind of like take our like name. I think I've done it before too. Like put medallion across, just like with like no shame, just like look everybody, we made the lineup. It's like no, you did. But dude, fast forward now. That's why seriously, congratulations on that. That's unbelievable. And
appreciate that.
And it's funny just growing up in this area. So like you're just used to seeing Sunfest, and then also being kind of just in the music scene here that we end up knowing people who've got to play a handful of times with different bands and stuff too. So some people think it loses its lackluster and stuff, but no, I always look at that as like, if that's something to be extremely proud of, and it speaks miles, and also the performance itself too. It holds its own weight. Yeah,
thanks. It was the best show ever.
Yeah,
that we ever played. I really believe that
the band was all nice and tight too.
We felt so good. It was,
dude, especially
awesome.
your Reputation to Protect and like World on Fire, kind of like in and out transition.
I don't know if we did that one at Sunfest. We may have, but yeah, that is a common one that we do.
I thought you did. I mean, if you didn't, then.
Maybe we did like a verse and chorus. It doesn't matter either way, but yeah, maybe we did.
Someone could rip me apart in the comments.
Dude,
if that's
he didn't do that at that show.
Jake a fake fucking fan.
But yeah, that's one that I like doing.
And then got Lonely Night.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
have you had a lonely night?
Had a lot of lonely nights. A lot of lonely nights. This song I wrote after my dog passed away a couple of years ago. Same dog I wrote about in Take Me Home. Roxy, R.I.P., my childhood dog. Yeah, she was very near and dear to my heart. And yeah, that was a tough year, and decided to write a song about her. Also kind of alluded to the constellations, where just sitting outside one night thinking about her, staring up at the sky, and just like imagining seeing her in the stars kind of as a constellation. So and then just kind of added a guitar solo at the end that I was very much, I'm pretty sure I was like crying while I was like recording the solo, just because I was just putting everything into it, just all the emotion. And my neighbors probably weren't too stoked on it, because I just had the amp like freaking cranked. But I was like, man, I just want this to like come through.
That's such a beautiful thing though. But and then also just like next scene, it's just the neighbors just like, what the fuck is going on over there? Just screaming and crying and playing. But no, that's really kind of leading to the end of the album. But I mean, dude, there's so much passion in every single song. I can even hear like the diction in your voice. I think in Runaway Lover too, I hear a little bit of like grit and power with some of it too. But I mean, no, but Lonely Light, would you say that's kind of one of the more like emotionally passionate songs that you put a lot into?
Definitely. Like I said, yeah, just recording that song was tough for me. Call on Me was another one of those. While recording the lyrics, I'm pretty sure I choked up a few times, trying to record that, just because I was like, damn, it's like, come on, keep it together,
But dude, that's the thing. I mean, and dude, like people that don't understand reggae music, I feel like it has such a stereotypical condensation. That's not, condensation. No, I feel like it just has like a stereotype where it's like, it's just very surface level. It's about good vibes,
right?
And smoking weed and whatever, and that's it. But I mean, there's just so much more to it too.
Sure.
Yeah. No. And that's, and I can hear it in your music, and also just with like everything else that you've kind of played, influences that you've like alluded to, that you've been able to feature into your record. But kind of closing out the 15-song album, Chasing Constellations, the ballad version.
Yeah.
So was that an intentional thing to do? Like, were you like, I want to have something to kind of just like methodically wrap up this whole record and kind of go back to it, or?
Not originally. I really liked the song, and I could imagine it as a ballad version, and so maybe that's why I decided to do it. Yeah, I don't really know why I chose that, but I did it.
Because the moment I heard it, I'm like, that's where I felt like it was roller coaster was like nice and ending sort of thing, and you're kind of coming back down. If that's the flow I'm talking about. You really kind of took everybody for a ride, and then it really kind of settles back in. So that's why I thought, I'm like, was this intentionally placed here?
Right. And there's even a NASA sample I put at the very end that says, "Roger, we have landed," and it's like, I thought that was kind of like a good ending. Oh, maybe it says it's the ending to the new beginning or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was cool, like last line. And I also looked up like, what are the laws against the laws using NASA samples?
I was just about to ask. Did you give him a call?
It's all public domain.
Yeah, it's public domain. Yeah.
Did you know that?
I assumed it because it's. I don't know if it's government related or not. I might be wrong or right.
I even used JFK's speech during Foolish Games. So that's who's talking. That the part where, what was he say? No governmental plan should allow something against your will, and that was part of like his speech. But yeah, so for the Chasing Constellations ballad, that is Mike DeGuzman of Passafire on the piano.
Dude, it's a monster.
Yeah, he just rips it, and it was very beautiful. I knew he, besides crushing it with Passafire, he also plays a lot of ballad stuff too.
Have you seen him play the guitar?
Yeah,
so sick.
It's amazing. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. Top 3 for sure, maybe even top 1.
I hear a lot of your influence with them for sure, and I would love to see you guys do a freaking tour together.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's Revolution, Expendables, and an Article Sound System. I think you guys would really complement each other.
Yeah,
because that way you get very kind of reggae, you can even get rootsy, but you know how to rock out. But then also you really have your own style. Because I also hear a lot of like Pink Floyd influence.
Cool.
With your music for sure.
Definitely.
Would you say that's kind of
absolutely
kind of true?
Yeah, I would say that's true.
Hell yeah. And the fact that you even like were able to, like, when we're just wrapping the record up, and you're able to even like go back to Foolish Games and even some of like your other songs too, and just refer back to this. So that's what really, in my opinion, just ties the whole album together really well. The fact that you can talk about this track 6, but refer back to track 4 with something. So it's just it told like the whole story. So out of all the 15 songs, what is your favorite?
It tends to change, but I think currently feel the same. I don't know. There's something about the mix of that song that I really like. I really like the drum pattern. I thought my vocals were pretty decent on that song.
Pretty sexy.
And I really like Karim's verse in that song too. I like the dub section. Yeah, so I guess it tends to change, but it tends to fluctuate between that and Chasing Constellations, I think.
I figured, because that's also like such a boring question. That's what's your favorite out of it? But I know it always changes, because especially performing it too.
Yeah, performing is a totally different, right? Like Wave of Life, I love playing. I don't know if it's my favorite to listen to. Maybe it's just because I've heard it so many times at this point, but they're all different,
And then when you perform these with the features, do you have someone in your band kind of do like some of the other verses, or you just do everything, or you just kind of, it's different every time?
Yeah, I tend to do everything. When we play All We Need, Sam, who we recently added on bass, he sings Mihali's parts.
Oh, sick.
And then there's like a call and response part during the bridge, so we kind of feed off each other with that part. But yeah, for the others, I tend to sing the verses.
Is there a song on the record that you didn't know would get a response that it did?
Yeah. All We Need definitely is probably that one. It's like in one of my top songs, but I was like, I feel like the song is not that strong. Like it's not like, doesn't hold up compared to the other ones, but it's done pretty well. And a lot of people have said it's their favorite. Yeah, I would say that one.
Yeah. What about any music videos? Do you have any more plans to kind of do any music videos, or?
Not at the moment. I've talked with Brian about possibly doing a music video. We just haven't made it work yet. I've also, do you know the YouTube series called Circle? CER, Did I spell that right? Circle. Yeah, I think so. But it's like, yeah, it's not spelled like circle.
Yeah.
I think it's an E instead of an I. But anyway, they do these like really cool, unique performances of bands or DJs or whatever, just out somewhere in nature, somewhere like really cool, and
It's live too?
and it's live. Yeah, I believe it's live, unless if they make it somehow
Not.
yeah, unless if they're overdubbing
Yeah.
anything. But I've always wanted to do something kind of like that. So we've been talking about something like that in the works. Maybe doing something out in like Riverbend or
That's dope.
whatever, doing like a live
Yeah.
recording or session.
Have you performed the album live from start to finish?
No. I think Lost in Space would be a hard one to pull off live. I think that's the only song we haven't done live though. All the other songs we've done live, we just might have to skip that one. I think the guitar parts for that song, I cut up in like different sections when recording it. I didn't play the whole thing straight through. It's like sit down, record this part, and then like
Layer and layer. Yeah.
So it's like I think it would just be very difficult to make that sound right live. But all the other songs I believe we've played. We haven't done anything like in order though either. We're still tightening up on how to play them live.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still getting dialed in as a band, and because we also don't want to play them exactly like the recording.
Yeah, you want to make it special to like the
yeah.
live version, and
Right.
it's actually something I noticed, but because to kind of prep for this podcast, because I don't know you at all, but no, the research I was doing, I was just playing, and it's big shout out to Crazy Uncle Mike, the fact that like Mike's able to just like stream the live
Right.
performances, just post them on there, so it's really cool. I was like watching like 3 different live versions of your band from like just
Yeah.
like older to kind of the newest too,
Right.
and just seeing those originals become tighter and tighter and become more into like a live version as well was really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
But doing your first freaking album, dude, that's fucking awesome. It's something to
thank you.
really be proud of. What was a big learning experience doing this? And I mean, it's definitely not just recording 3 songs and calling it an EP and then stamping it and putting it out there. I feel like you have some sort of wisdom to sprinkle on all these people listening.
I will say it takes a lot of work, just even putting out one song, can sometimes take weeks. And if you don't like certain takes, having to re-record certain things until you get it dialed in exactly how you want it, it takes a lot of time, so I think patience is definitely something I've had to practice while working on this entire album. It's been expensive, it doesn't have to be expensive. There's ways that you can, maybe you've got a buddy who works at a recording studio or an artist or a producer that, is, I don't know, whatever. There's many routes you can go when it comes to the quality. I wanted this album to be very quality, and that's why I decided to work with Big G. But yeah, so I think it's taken a lot of time, and there's been lots of times where I've doubted myself too, and people who are in the process of writing an album might run into the same issue, just because of you're listening to the song so many times that they tend to lose the initial power that they had on you. It's like when you first write a song, you're like, you are passionate about it. You're like, oh, I feel emotionally invested in this song. Whereas when you hear it 100, 200 times, you might lose a little bit of that passion. So the ability to doubt yourself might become easier.
So how do you keep that passion there? Because I mean,
Yeah.
I could easily relate to that too. I mean, even going back to the freaking song "Quarantine" that I wrote.
Right.
Wrote that in quarantine. I know I'm a big brain, crazy creative. Wrote a song about quarantine and quarantine, amazing. No, that song actually came about because during lockdown, I remember I was talking to one of I forgot who it was, but he was telling me, he's like, dude, I love this. Like, I've written like 5 songs because of this, and like it's forced me to do this. I'm being so creative, and I'm like, fuck, I'm not. Damn it. And I was just trying to and I was more of just kind of like sarcastic attitude of just like playing like these like very like polkish doom sort of thing, and I was just like screaming quarantine,
Right.
and then like my wife's texting me in the other room. She's just like, why? Like she's like, are you serious right now? Or like, what are you doing? And then at that point, I'm just like, yeah, what am I doing? And I'm like, you know what? I just want to finish this. Like, we'll just do something for fun, whatever.
Sure.
And I never intended to even like record it properly. I never intended to do anything with it too. But it was more of just kind of like just pushing and just like keep going and just trying to find a little bit of like passion in there too. So I can easily relate to what you're saying as far as like you listen to these songs so much, and then it almost kind of loses that lack and that luster, and then you almost start like just doubting yourself too. So how do you find to kind of keep that motivation for some of your songs, or even like the passion with it too? I mean, is it just like the mental toughness of just saying like, I got to keep going with this? Because I feel like not
a lot of times it is.
Yeah, I feel like your mental toughness is there creatively, but also like you're very, very disciplined.
Right. And, you know, that's something that I've had to work on. And it's like keeping up with my health, sleeping better, trying to find better, you know, all that stuff, like exercising and like, but all that stuff comes into play when we're talking about discipline, because it's a lot easier to be disciplined when I'm feeling good mentally, you know? So I definitely try to take care of my mental health in that aspect. Because I notice when I'm starting to fall short, a lot of times the music goes with it, you know? So does that sort of answer your question?
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's like a huge level of like self-awareness, which some people still don't have. Some people kind of find their self-awareness in like a certain way. And just that with being able to just write powerful songs and being able to just see the light at the end of the tunnel, even though you're like walking through the darkness a little bit too. So like even kind of alluding to like space and stuff too. It's a very good page to take out of your book.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the creative muscle is something that, I mean, I don't know if it's an actual muscle.
I say it all the time, so it is.
Yeah. I think it's got to be like worked out, you know. The more I just try to write, even if it's just like even if it's anything, I try to write a little bit each day. I say that now, but I don't try to write each day. I try to write as often as possible, even if it doesn't end up sticking, even if it ends up being nothing. I just try to write something. I'll play, you know, something on guitar, record it. If it's an idea that doesn't stick later on, oh well. But just keeping up with that theme of practicing a lot.
Yeah.
And
well, it's the discipline of doing it. So then the moment that you go by one day, you're like, just ideas will start hitting you like a freight train, and then you're just like, I have to do something with this, and then it almost feels unnatural not to do anything with it. I mean, I'm a sucker for some good quotes, and one of my favorite quotes, I used to just kind of like, it's almost like mantras. I guess mantras are like what you kind of say to yourself too, I believe, and just kind of let's put you like into kind of like that headspace. But one of my favorite ones, like I would say during high school when I was playing soccer, was all men are created equal. Some work harder during preseason.
True.
So it's almost just like, yes, all men are created equal.
Right.
But those people that work harder during preseason shows.
Very well said.
In a sense too.
Definitely.
So like even it's the work too. Like you look on stage and like, this band is so phenomenal, great musicians, they're tight and everything as well. But then that work, there's still work that needs to be done off the stage too. So there's even work that needs to be done behind the scenes. I mean, even in here too. So
right.
You kind of touched on just like being very conscious of your health.
Yeah.
So what are you kind of doing now for that? Besides just pounding some water in a nice beer mug glass.
So this podcast is not sponsored by Whoop, but I do use...
Oh, what is that?
I use this like Whoop band. I guess it can kind of be related to like a Fitbit, but it, you know, tracks my sleep, which I realized I was sleeping terribly for a while. And once I got my sleep a little bit more in check, I have definitely noticed I've been feeling better, because I don't know, there was nights I would only sleep a few hours and then just like wonder why I wasn't able to be productive, you know?
Yeah.
And sleep is obviously crucial to our physical and mental health. But so just that I would say,
dude, that's huge. It's everything. I mean, also just sleep, and then even everything related to sleep with like food. I mean, I ate like shit last night, and I woke up this morning. I'm like, why do I feel like? Because I try to discipline myself to be you like go to bed like at a regular routine, or even like have some sort of nightly routine,
right?
So your body like is just naturally like shutting off, and its nose is shutting off, and then that way you're kind of be able to wake up in the morning with kind of good organic energy.
Sure.
I'm not a doctor, but I feel like that is. I've heard that before.
Yep.
At least it works for me. But like, last night kind of went to bed a little bit later, ate something quick and easy, fast food, and then I woke up and I'm just like, why do I feel this way? I'm like, because I ate garbage the other night. My body processing that,
right.
Not in a good way, and then kind of started off the day with a little bit of a rocky start. But I mean, it's kind of stuff you do for yourself. But besides sleep, what else are you doing? Are you staying active or?
Yeah, trying to exercise every day. If I can, I skip some days. I recently got a walking treadmill, which I mean,
that's what that was. I wanted to solve that.
It's basically a regular treadmill, but for indoors, I guess. And you can do it at a very low speed. So while I'm getting back to my emails in the morning, drinking my coffee, I'll just be walking on the treadmill and burn some calories doing that. And it's a great way for me to start my morning.
Does that feel kind of weird or unnatural to do, like just doing that and get on this treadmill, then you're like,
yeah, maybe at first, but
because I've seen a lot of people do it recently and they swear by it. They're like, it was weird at first, but I'm glad.
So glad. I was, what you just said, I was in the same boat. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that while working, but it happened pretty quickly. And it's just been nice to burn some calories in the morning and get that heart rate going a little bit. So yeah, I think that's helped. And my creative process is always different. It's never 6 to 1 pattern. The other day I started writing 3 songs, and that just randomly came about. I was driving in my car and just thought of a random melody with lyrics, and I was like, I'm putting this on my voice memos app on my phone, and took up my phone and
put the car on cruise control. Don't touch the wheel. Right, exactly. Then you're just like, I'm writing a song now. Yeah. Good luck, everybody else.
It's free reign out there on the road.
No, I know what you mean though. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, red light. Yeah. Perfect. Right. Do this real quick. Bam, easy.
Yeah, but thank God for that voice memo app. And if anybody really wanted to blackmail me or get at me, they would probably go on my phone and
show me one. I'll show you one of mine if you show me one of yours.
All right, let's do it.
Here, I'll
that's pretty funny.
So, oh God. All right. See, mine kind of just shows up as like my address.
Oh, nice.
So I'll just do a
I'll
do a vicious scroll. I'll do a vicious scroll and you tell me when to stop.
Stop.
All right, this
61.
I'll play a little bit of it. What the hell was I thinking?
This is nice.
Can you think of a melody?
Yeah, this is nice.
Okay, that's not too
embarrassing. I was gonna say.
All right,
the ones with just vocals.
Okay, yeah, those are so rough. All right, we'll find one. You tell me when.
Stop. Oh, I
we'll do one.
The same spot. Stop.
Oh God, I'll spare. All right, your turn. Your turn.
Let's do this. All right.
Oh, pull up like right there for like in front of the camera.
Okay.
And just hit it. Stop.
Hopefully, it's nothing like
you can cut. You can cut if you're embarrassed.
True.
Okay, I know what you're doing.
So that's a perfect example.
Oh my god, dude! I thought you were. Oh my god, that's so funny. I thought you were just going. I thought you were just doing some pucker up kiss stuff. That's so funny. Damn. So you think of some beats.
Yeah.
Too. And
sometimes I'll do like.
Okay.
Like that whole thing.
Oh my god, that's funny. Give me one more. Give me one more.
All right, you got it. Tell me when.
All right, hit that scroll now.
Okay. Oh, actually, I remember this one.
I've been
Wait, that reminded me of Baby.
Yeah.
Or what is that?
I've
Okay, sorry.
been waiting for the clock to tick the hours until the longer hand reaches 3:30. I've been driving through this field full of flowers, but it's not as sweet without you next to me.
Dude, that's cool.
A little cheesy, but
Dude,
okay.
that's cool. I like the open chord kind of like almost like I don't want to overuse the word folk.
Yeah.
But it definitely has like the mountain outside
Right.
vibe. Yeah, like almost like Trevor Hall type of music. Yeah.
I was thinking of doing an acoustic album next because I have so many like acoustic songs that I feel are almost ready to be on an album. Just haven't gotten there yet. I have my toes in like so many different projects at the moment where I'm like, what do I do? What do I like actually commit to next? But
toes in different I say I have my hands in different pots. My toes in different pots. I love that though. That's hilarious.
My toes to make sure the water's okay. You know,
all my toes are going different directions.
I don't even know if that's a saying.
It's saying now. My toes in different directions. I say my hand in different pots, but I will definitely say toes in different direction now. That's hilarious.
I maybe heard that somewhere. Like
but
different water.
It's funny that you mentioned the acoustic stuff too, because I mean you also perform solo acoustic out a lot, and
Right.
I mean I could relate to that as well. And the music that I've been listening to lately has been a lot of like Tyler Childers, Zach Bryan, Charlie Crockett. I went back to John Mayer's Born and Raised album too.
Great.
So very like storytelling, kind of like mountain countryside sort of thing. But also just playing acoustic music primarily, like a lot being solo. I'm trying to see how I can implement that into the band setting as well.
Okay.
Do you ever kind of feel that way too when you're kind of playing out solo acoustic and you kind of think like more of like a bigger picture in a sense?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I was at a solo gig the other day and I started doing, it was like there was like no one listening.
Yeah.
It was like one of those solo acoustic gigs. And I was like, I'm just gonna mess around and try some new stuff. And I like tried these different loops where I just changed the arrangement completely. Like I did Take On Me, but I did it in a totally like, rather than like it was like I don't know, it's like I don't know.
Like slower, faster?
Or here's a better example. Like Fly Me to the Moon. Fly me to the moon. Where I made it more of like a I don't know what you would call that, but I was just messing around with some different stuff, and I was like, maybe like a loop acoustic album could be like something.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if that.
No,
fits your point,
it does. I mean, because I think the same way too, as like you're playing to everyone's back.
Yeah,
and they're sitting at the bar, and then you finish a song, and they're clapping. It's like, oh, they're watching the sports. Go sports.
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst.
Oh god. Yeah, dude, I mean, like, just a little side note. Like this past Sunday, the Dolphins played the Bills, I think, and it was a big Sunday football. Dolphins in the playoffs. I mean, I don't really follow sports. I'm not going to act like I do, but I mean, I'm a Florida boy, and Dolphins, that's a big deal.
Right.
Everybody's eyes were on the TV, and the TV was sideways, so everyone moved their chair sideways, and I was looking at that, and I was just playing. Luckily, I had some people like just like come up to me like, "Hey, man, like I really like the music you're playing. We are paying attention, but the game." And I'm like, "I get it, dude. Don't worry. It's fine." But I mean, as you're playing those gigs, you kind of like conceptualizing some songs and some like bigger ideas and stuff too. So no, I mean that definitely answers my question. But dude, like an acoustic album, because dude, one of my favorite, like one of the albums like I would take to my grave is Cabin by the Sea, Dirty Heads.
Yeah,
dude.
Absolutely, it's one of my favorites.
Dude, like that acoustic album. I mean, no. The acoustic album was
the Phantom of Summer.
Yes, yeah. So good. Remember that Dirty Heads concert we
Oh,
went
dude,
to?
I was just thinking about that.
You could do
And just thinking about it last week, because I saw Eric Rachmani of Revolution. He put on an acoustic show at Culture Room in Fort Lauderdale, that same venue. Were you there? Is that what you're about to show me? Oh my God, what? What, dude? Is this Sugar Shack?
Yeah, man. I got to shoot his session.
No freaking way,
Yeah, man.
bro.
It was a insane experience, and
what?
that's kind of what I was gonna like bring up to you.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
You guys have such a similar demeanor
Oh yeah.
when you guys are around people.
Okay.
Like he was so nice and respectful. Said
Yeah.
hi to everybody. Shook
That's
everyone's
cool.
hands. Took pictures with a bunch of people.
Right.
Like and just very like happy and just like
Yeah.
aware. And that's
funny.
that's what I want.
I mean,
I mean to kind of say that to you too. Where I'm
Mm-hmm.
like I could see the inspiration. And that's why I'm like, dude, if you guys did a show together, it'd be so sick.
I mean, he's definitely, one of my idols. So
Yeah, you turned me on to Revolution. Sky's the limit. It's the first song I ever heard.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, we were big fans of them.
Yeah.
When we were playing with like Ryan and, and Bobby and that, we loved Revolution. So they were, but what I was going to say is, I was at Culture Room, just like thinking about seeing Dirty Heads at that venue. That was very cool because
me getting kicked
you
out
getting
right
kicked
before the
out.
start.
Oh, damn. You didn't get to see any
No,
of it.
dude, that was the thing. I was so stoked, and I'm such a
Damn.
little shithead kid.
Well, I'm not going to finish that story. then.
I mean, I could finish it. I thought it was so cool, and I snuck one beer in for myself.
Yeah.
And then, like, the hand of God came out
Yeah.
and grabbed me and threw me out. And then I texted you guys. I'm like, I'll figure something out. I don't want to take you guys away from the show. And then
Yeah.
afterwards, like, it was so cool. I'm like, oh, I missed it.
Oh, man.
I was such an idiot. Yeah, don't do that. Respect the rules, kids, or you'll miss a really good show.
Yeah,
God,
it's true,
but no,
it's
but that was no, and at least I got a picture with him afterwards.
Yeah.
That was a fun night. But no, how was that show?
Oh, it was amazing. Wait, are we talking about the Dirty Heads or the Eric Rachmani at this point?
Dirty Heads.
Oh,
yeah.
that's why I said I wasn't gonna finish that story because it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I deserve it. Yeah.
But just seeing Dirty Heads at kind of a relatively smaller venue like that, and then now seeing where they're at, it's just like it's kind of crazy.
So how was Eric when you saw him there?
Just a totally different vibe from seeing Revolution. Revolution, you have the whole show and production, where this was very much stripped down and no gimmicks, no anything like that. It was just them purely just
So tight, right?
so tight and them just jamming out and having a good time, and that's what made it so cool and intimate.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Kyle, right?
Kyle, yeah.
The guitar,
Dude,
dude, when
crazy.
they were freaking playing back and
Yeah.
forth, they're so tight.
Oh yeah, they were doing even some like almost classical.
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Stuff. Like I was like, damn, I didn't know they could shred like that.
My
That
God,
was-
I know it's
yeah, that was sick.
it's freaking insane. So who is somebody you would love to collab with in the future besides Eric? I know that'd be sick.
Definitely. I've been wanting to collab with Surfer Girl from
Yeah,
is
dude, yeah.
originally of Air,
yeah.
Carter,
Yeah.
We talked about it briefly over Instagram, but he was just like, yeah, I don't know if the label what they want, so without getting too much into it, but that would be cool to happen one day. Some other collabs.
I feel like you guys would write like the summer jam. Like I don't know. I feel like a really good beach reggae song that you can just like get real nice and tight with like a really catchy hook. Him singing the chorus and you doing some verses. I could already hear that.
Yeah. I can.
I'm putting that shit out there.
Put it out in the universe. I can imagine kind of like a Swayze vibe. I think. That's what you say.
Yeah. That's kind of like the ballpark I was thinking about. But I mean, yeah, of course, kind of. Everyone's on their different career paths and trajectory, and like it makes sense and understanding with certain management and labels, and
Right.
and you have management, right? Or are you signed to a label yet? Or
Not signed to a label, but yeah, I do have a manager. Will Glass. He's amazing. But yeah, he was part of Reggae 360. Now we're kind of independent, just doing our own thing. So yeah,
hell yeah,
yeah, man.
Well, if someone listened to this from start to finish, that's why I like to ask everybody in case someone's like, I'm not listening to this, and they skip to the end.
Gotcha.
What what is one thing you hope someone could take away from this? I mean, the fact that, I mean, first of all, thank you for kind of like, I mean, being a little bit vulnerable. I mean, how you say, I mean, like
definitely.
going through every song track by track and giving some sort of thoughtful answer with it too. I mean, I really do appreciate that.
Thank you for giving me an outlet to talk about these songs on, because for a while I was doing like the song of the week where I would like,
dude, your social media strategy and game, it's fucking consistent, and that's what people don't really realize. They think they can put one thing out there and then that's it.
Appreciate that.
I mean, the fact that you kind of like stuck with a theme, a concept. I mean, even like looking at your album as an example. So, dude, no, don't freaking thank me. Thank you, and you have a very good following and loyal people too. So
I'm very grateful for that.
It's nice. It's nice to see that and know that people are gonna watch this and tune in. So,
sure.
What is one thing you hope someone kind of take away from it? And be honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I want to think of the right answer, not just say whatever comes to mind, which that might be the right answer.
We could take a moment of silence. I'll close my eyes, don't worry.
Okay, I think I'm ready. Okay. I think I'm just going to stick to what I originally thought, because I like it. I like this answer. If you have okay.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna like say this like okay, so anyways, guys. Sorry. You were saying.
I was gonna say if you have a creative mind of sorts, which I think we all have a creative part of us to some degree, you know. If you have a creative mind, don't stop creating and keep making material, whether it's music or art, whether it's visual, audio, whatever. Keep creating. Don't stop just because you told yourself to stop or somebody else told you that you weren't good enough or whatever. Just keep at it because it feels good. I mean, it feels good getting it out, you know? It's very therapeutic. It can help somebody else in the long run. If you lose the passion, find the passion in another way. Just don't stop creating. I think creativity is such a beautiful aspect of being human, and just the fact that we're able to create in this new age and utilize technology to do these things. You know, if you want to paint but you don't really have the means to, but you can use an iPad to draw something, or if you can record but you don't have the budget for a studio, just record something on your computer or your phone. Find a way to be creative and find an outlet that makes you feel special and heard, because when you do it, it's the best feeling ever. And I think that's my closing statement.
You couldn't agree more. I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to do this podcast. I mean, that's what's missing in the world, more podcasts. I mean, taking that mentality, going back to that meme, we're looking outside and it's like all dark instead of moving your perspective. There's certain things with myself I wanted to speak a little bit better. Yeah. I want to be a little bit more thoughtful with my words and just trying to form them in a certain way. And I absolutely believe everyone is creative and everyone has value in their life. And I very much believe in the ability to connect with others as well. Everyone's got something cool and something interesting to share. That's why I wanted to wait to have you as my first musician. Dude, since
I'm very honored.
You've like really showed me what what music in your life could look like from when I was 16 and now like a 10-year friendship and relationship. Now fast forward to what you're able to do. It's like I don't want to speak for others, but like I have heard some voices in the town, and you have definitely a very good reputation, and you've inspired many people. And it's funny seeing now the younger generation of 16-year-old kids just doing their bands, playing other gigs and stuff too. So it's really cool to kind of see the path you've kind of helped be really big part of. And I'm serious, man. You've really
appreciate that, man. Honored to be your friend and honored to be playing music with you, whether it's in the past or present or future.
Dude, yeah, I mean, the fact that you even like shoot me a text sometimes, you're like, hey, like, can you just snap a few pictures of my band and stuff? I mean, like, right. I'm so happy to be able to do that. Absolutely, man. Just honored to be a part of this journey. Hell yeah. So what's the future looking like though? What do you got coming out? So actually, potential acoustic album, maybe a dub thing. Yeah, definitely a dub thing. Hell yeah. And the dub is nice because this is gonna sound probably kind of bad, but I don't have to. It doesn't take up too much time for me. I give the song to because I don't dub myself. I mean, maybe I could. It just wouldn't be as high quality as someone like Big G doing it. So, it's not time consuming for me. I could just say, "Hey, can you make a dub of these songs for me?" And so with that time, I can utilize to write new material. Or so a couple things in the work: acoustic album, cover album, a whole new album with full band stuff. A lot of these songs I write on my computer. I record the keyboard, make a little drum thing, and blah blah blah. Lay out the entire song on my computer, and then hire session musicians to cover the drums and keys part. I record the bass and guitar and vocals myself. But something I haven't really done yet is write with the musicians in the band that I perform with. Why? I don't really know. Maybe it's because they can sometimes take a while in getting back to me. But needless to say, they're fantastic musicians. They're incredibly talented, have way more knowledge when it comes to music theory than I will ever know. So I would like to collaborate with them one day and write some original music together. So that's also in the works. But in the near future, what I have cooking is a couple cover songs that I have ready to put out soon. So hell yeah, stay tuned, dude, man, bro, person. Thank you for letting me in your home, dude. Thank you for picking my brain. Do that Appreciate one more time. Yeah. All right. Awesome. We're out. Peace.